What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paula. It's Pauline Theology's Daily Devotional, and we are going through the book of John. We are on John chapter 11, 7 through 10. So if you have not read it yet, go ahead, check it out, see what it has to say. Come back. We'll answer the 4 questions. If you have read it, well, then let's get down, man. This is Trust in Jesus Ministries. We want to help you trust in Jesus more as we study these scriptures, man. So let's answer the 4 questions. So that way we can learn and know a little bit more about Jesus and then trust him that much more. So what's going on, man? What's happening in the scriptures? Well, we have Jesus coming to meet Martha and Mary and Lazarus, who has passed away. We have him sending a message back to them, talking about he is the that this sickness won't lead to death, but that this is for the glory of God. He remains 2 more days because he loves us and he wants to see us grow. So it's for his glory, our good. And we're seeing that. And now we're going to see we're going to see a little bit more of that. So what's actually going on? I gave a little introduction, man, but what's happening? What's going on, man? It says after he remained there for a couple more days, he told his disciples, it's time to go. We got to go back to Judea, man. And the disciples are tripping, dude. They're like, what? Why do you want to go back to that place? Because if you go back there, don't you know they're going to kill you? He's like, bro, they just tried to stone you just the last time because of what Jesus said about himself, that the ruling elite, the Jews, the Pharisees, the high priests, all of them wanted to kill Jesus, and Jesus had to leave, and he narrowly escaped. I put those in drop quotes because we know that God is sovereign and no one can do anything apart from his will, but he narrowly escapes, right? And that's what the disciples think. And so they're worried when he says he wants to go back up there. But Jesus is like, dude, I got to go, man. He says there's only a couple of hours in a day. And if you walk in the light, you won't fall. You won't stumble because you have the light that you can see. But if you walk in the darkness, you'll trip because the light is not in him. And so he kind of does a spin, but when he says light in him, instead of not like shining around him or something like that, man. Jesus always talking in them doubles. John always writing in them doubles, man. And so Jesus is making a parallel to what's going on, man, here. And what's amazing about it is the fact that it is what is relative to our lives today. I mean, it is amazing, but we shouldn't be fooled so far today because we've been reading through this, learning about Jesus and how these things work in us, man. But anyway, what should we take from this, man? What is going on? Who is God in this picture? What do we see about God? Well, we see his sovereignty because he's in control. Nobody's going to be able to do anything to Jesus as he goes back into the city. And we're going to read more about that later on as he goes to the cities and is undisturbed, even when it says that the Jews are there present, because he is sovereign over every situation. He controls all the things that go on. And so he knows that because it's the Father's will for him to go into the city again to meet with Lazarus, whom he loves, so that he might show the glory of the Father and himself while he's there, he knows he's protected, man. Because God is sovereign over all of those things, but he is also the protector of his people. So he knows that because God's in control, that he will protect him because it is the will of the Father for the Son to go into the city so that the Son might be glorified and the people, the disciples, Mary, Martha, Lazarus might receive good. What is this saying about man? I think it's saying we're safe in the arms of the Savior. You see, he says that if you walk during the day, then you won't trip, you won't stumble. And so first off, this is the protection, I believe, that Jesus is talking about whenever he's going there, because it's in reflection of him going to the city, despite the fact that these people want to kill him. So we know that it is because he walks in the light. It's the time for work. Remember, we talked about a little bit of that. It says that there's going to be a time for work, and that's during the day, but there's a time at night when no work can be done. And this is kind of in that vein is when the Father's called him to work. While he has the time to work, he has to go and work. He has to do the things that the Father has told him to, and he knows he's protected when he gets there. But I think it's also another thing that John alludes to in the we read First John together, and it talks about those who walk in the light. And I think that is also the truth, is that when we walk with the focus of us living for the glory of God, sin is not there. Sin is not even around. It may come up and try and disturb us in our walk, but as we focus and keep our eyes on Jesus, man, we throw them sins to the side, man. We will not stumble. But that's why I say it's that uniqueness. It says when he walks at night and the darkness is in him. It's because sin is in him. The desire, the want, the corruption of sin is filled in a person who is walking at night. Night and light are big things in John's gospel here. So as we talk about what it says man is doing, or what it is that sinners sin. As unbelievers, they will walk in the darkness and stumble. They will fall. They will do all things that will trip us up. And when I say trip us up, it's not in the sense that they fall as they do, but it's that they will look at us and they will not like us. They will do all things wrong to us because that's their nature. And so when we see it happen, we can't really, I mean, it's offensive. It hurts. It breaks my heart. And I'm sure, obviously, it breaks your heart. But we got to recognize this is just the reality of the case. Is they walk in darkness. And so they live in sin. And so what it says about man again is that, man, we're protected in the arms of our Savior, that as we walk in the light, he protects us. We are, I think there's a quote that says, invincible while we're in the will of God. Because if God desires for us to be here and we're doing his will, nothing can take us out. But on the second thing is sinners sin. Sinners gonna sin. You know what I'm saying? That's just what they do. And so we've got to recognize that. So how do we apply the truths to our lives, man? Well, first off, what is God calling you to do? What is the sovereign Lord, the protector of us, calling you to do that you have not engaged in because of fear? I'm not going to say there shouldn't be any fear, because anything worth doing is scary sometimes, right? It's scary sometimes. But God has called us to greater things. And what he calls us to do, he will protect us so that he can receive the glory, and then we can be filled with purpose and love. Man, we get to share in this life. So what is God calling you to that you haven't done? You haven't trusted in him because of fear. And then secondly, man, just remember that sinners gonna sin. And so as they do so, it's okay to get offended, because we are offended, man. We're hurt, we're broken. But remember, it's the power of this world that's over them. The power of Satan that's blinded them to the truth that and the love that needs to be shared by them. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.